Hello everyone, want to do a quick update on the Canadian MJ play this morning. Obviously, it's not going ideally with the V-shaped recovery that we were looking for, but it did give us a nice bounce right at the open to be able to manage our position. So I did a market order on WEED and CRON right at the open. I exited small profit. Again, when you go 5% in a couple minutes, you don't want to be greedy when fighting the trend. So I took small profit, maybe 20% of my position, and locked it in to give me more wiggle room. And then I exited the rest break even as soon as this little consolidation on the 2-minute time frame here broke. And I use the 2-minute time frame for more details when things are fast moving. So as soon as we broke this low of 27.88, I exited everything for break even, and my break even price was lower than where I bought because I took some small profit. So again, that gives me more wiggle room by managing positions that way. So from here at this point, I did re-enter CRON. I did not re-enter WEED because the way that we have this set up, we're looking for a climax capitulation kind of bottom with a V-shaped recovery. The first red flag this morning was obviously hitting a new low of the day, because if we see this kind of strong start with no follow through and then we lose the low of the day, that's a big red flag saying, okay, this is not the setup that we were looking for. We need to protect our capital because we're going to have another opportunity for this same setup. So the hourly RSI levels are still crushed. WEED 4-hour RSI, again, scrolling back, it's getting down to historical bounce levels right around the 20 point. And if we look at the hourly RSI, we're scrolling back and it's, again, in line with some of the most oversold we've seen, 15.4 back in February. And here we are right now at hourly RSI is currently 15.2. So right in line with that last dump. So the setup that we're watching for the rest of the day is number one, can we get a 5-minute higher low and higher high? That's step number one for changing the trend. It's a very clear lower high, lower low pattern. We have to see a 5-minute higher low and higher high to change any kind of trend. That's step number one. I'm watching for the potential. Are we going to see continued weakness and another setup like today for tomorrow? If that's the case, that's going to be a gift. You have to consider, you're watching your favorite Canadian MJ names. Nothing has changed fundamentally with these companies nor the sector. It's just market weakness overall that's making people a little bit shaky, and also knowing that we have a ways to go before we get to doors opening for legalization. But the bottom line is, if your company is dropping 18 to 20% in 2 days with nothing fundamentally changing, this is a gift in terms of looking for a bounce opportunity. So I'm still, again, mostly cash. I do still have a CRON position. I got a really nice fill on CRON where I did a market order and got filled at 513 and change, and holding that position at break even. So I'm 90% cash, small CRON position with a break even stop loss. Exited stop losses, break even, and I was doing all manual. I didn't place any actual stop losses today because I was just firing off orders. Again, entering initially and then seeing once that momentum did not carry through, exiting at break even. So anybody that exited with break even or a small loss today, that is an ideal scenario to allow yourself the capital to be able to play again on further downside. So at this point, again, just to reiterate, we're watching the 5-minute time frame. We need a higher low and a higher high as step number one. The bullish reversal candlestick on the hourly time frame needs to form and then see follow through. And again, we're nowhere near seeing this hourly RSI cool off just yet. So let's see if the bulls can give us a midday kind of turnaround bounce rather than the V-shaped recovery that we're normally used to. And if not, we're going to be looking at the same exact setup for tomorrow as it was today, if we see a weak close today. And I would love that opportunity again, because any small loss, if you did take a small loss managing your positions this morning, that will be very, very easily made up once the real bounce does follow through after dumping 20% in 2 days. So hopefully people didn't get stuck in a position. Again, it's always a good lesson for capital management. And even if you are stuck in a position, just look at the hourly RSI level and look at history and look at the fact that your favorite name that you're playing has dumped 20% or 15% in 2 days. And that should allow you a little bit more breathing room and comfortability. So I wouldn't be too worried about, positions entered today in terms of whether or not they're going to be break even or profitable in the next couple of days. But in an ideal world, we're back to all cash and have the ability to play any further dumps that may occur. But at this point, this 5-minute move, we'll see if we get the higher low and higher high, and that is step number one for trying to form the bullish reversal candlestick on the daily. And the daily time frame, volume climax is very likely. Volume total yesterday was 10.2 million, and we're already at 60% of that in the first hour and a half of trading. So we're going to see a high volume day. The question is, how much of a lower wick do we form? If we close near the low of the day, we have the same setup tomorrow as today. And if we close in the middle of the day and form a bullish reversal spinning top candlestick, we'll be watching for some potential follow through into tomorrow. But again, Step number 1, higher low, higher high on the 5-minute time frame. Cron has a little double top at 542 we're watching, and we'll see if this bounce can get any more legs behind it. So we'll check back in at the end of the day and see how we close as to what we're looking for tomorrow.